My name is Earl Rootsman Chen, and it's very pleasant to be in the midst of your congregation once again. Rockers 80 is a new TV experience. We're going to relate into the music of the Most High, reggae music, as most of us is probably more familiar with that terminology. And we will cover from time to time interviews, conversations, and news, and other things that is associated with the music. Reggae music is a music from the heart. It's a heartbeat music. Each man has a heart, so therefore, for those of us who's not familiar with the music, they should not have too much of a problem becoming familiar with the music or be gravitated to the music. It's a spiritual music, a music that awakens the slumbering mentality, so we will be not only be entertained, but our consciousness state will be evoluted onto a more progressive dimension. This week I have a very dear friend and a very dominant force within reggae music, a man who has given us several hits, such as War in Babylon, Uptown Babies Don't Cry, One Step Forward, Norman the Gambler, Mr. Max Romeu, and we'll get the opportunity to converse with Max and see what's been happening with Max recently, right after we return. Greetings, and as I promised you, we have the pleasure of going to be communicating with one of reggae's most legendary performers, Mr. Max Romeu, who has given us, as I said previously, several hits. Mr. Max Romeu. Hello, Max.
Hey. All right, man.
How the man feeling this afternoon?
Cool, much cool. I'm all right. Everything is smooth.
Seeing. How's life in general?
Well, I can't complain, man. It could be worse, you know.
Right.
I just can't complain. I have to give thanks for what is happening and what I've got.
I think a lot of us, more or less before we evolve on, it's very much interesting to know, how long have you been singing?
It's a long time. You know, it's a couple of good years, you know. It's like from 1965.
That's
1965 is when I really started, not professionally really, but you know, like school choirs and, you know, church choirs and things like that. You know, I was singing harmony, and it dates back a long time.
So when did you discover that you was called upon as a messenger of the Most High to communicate this music?
Well, that's not too long ago, really. I really started really bringing a message to the people. It all happened back in 1972. 1972 is when I really started dealing with this type of music in terms of lyrics. Before, I used to do lyrics like, you know, Wet Dream, which was a major hit, you know, in England.
Yeah, I get to understand Wet Dream was like on the British chart for approximately 14 weeks or something.
It was more than that, man. It was near 20 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, it was really in the chart, you know. It went as far as number 2, never been played on the air. Played once.
Right, it was banned in England on the airwaves.
Yeah, it was banned on the airwaves, you know. That was what helped it to be so popular, you know, in terms of when a record is banned, it sells more than the ordinary.
Right. That was about, you know, 1969.
1969 that comes around.
You did tour England at that time when that song was a hit.
Yeah, I went to England
Tell us about that.
It was 1969 the tour started. It lasted for a year and some months. I toured the whole England, you know, a little Europe, and it was nice. You know, records sold quite a lot. Didn't make a lot of money. You know, because, you know, really. Tours in those days is like getting the music across. You know, the curiosity within the English kids helped to kind of transcend the music away. And well, it all ends up that I really didn't work out that great financial in that song. Was the exposure?
The experience was great.
And the experience was
Right.
great, in which is even better than even the lot of money.
Yeah, I get to understand that you also performed for some royal families while you was in England.
No, I really didn't perform for royal families. I really was at the investiture of Prince Charles.
Oh, Prince George.
I was there. I don't quite remember how I got there, but I was there.
See. So, how big is the Mann family?
Family, well,
Yeah.
6. So six families, six
Yeah.
piece family.
Yeah.
I would call it.
Quite a big family.
Yeah, it's big.
Uh-huh.
It's big.
How many albums do you have out now? Since you've been recording, how many albums have you done so far?
About 5.
About 5.
About 5 albums.
One of my favorites of all the albums that you have done so far is War in Babylon.
Mm.
Yeah, I really like that album. I noticed you collaborated on that with a man called Lee Perry,
Yeah.
man who used to produce Bob Marley also.
Lee's a very good producer. Yeah. Very hip to what's happening in the music. Well, it's been a long while. We really haven't been together. I mean, sit down and deal with it. So I don't know where his head is at right now. But when I was doing that album, I have a lot of fun, man. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, a magician in the studio. Scratch. So I get to understand that you're presently working with a band in New York called Jamala.
Yeah. Obviously, we kind of get the two groups together. You know, it's like Max Romeu and Jamala.
Right.
Kind of combine it together to make it a little stronger. See what's happening out there, because the competition is very stiff in New York City in terms of getting the music across.
Yeah.
You have to compete with a cross section of music, different, environments and things like that. So
Speaking about communicating the music across, right? Why do you think it has been so difficult in communicating the music, say in America? Because as we were speaking about England, you had a hit in England, right? Why is it such a dominant force in England in comparison to the way it is over here in the United States? What do you think is the reason for that?
I think it's that in the United States there's much more different type of cultures, cross-section of culture, and each culture carry up different music. You know, and it's like the Black American has their type of music, which is soul music. And regardless what other music comes, they just want to deal with the soul music. The white Americans have the rock and roll music, and they stick to their rock and roll music, you know. Which is like the Caribbean people has, like the calypso, and I have reggae.
Right.
You know, so it's a lot of different type of music combined together for the people to choose from. We're in England. I don't know. I just hear reggae and rock and roll.
Right.
you
Right.
know.
Or new wave.
Yeah.
now.
Well, it's the same, rock and roll.
Right.
You know, whatever they call it, punk.
Different terminology.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as a trend that has been I have observed is like most of the time, like the rock groups in England set the trend for the rock groups in America. Or most of the time, what happens in England normally get transferred over to the United States. You know, so reggae music is being very strong in England or in Europe in general.
What I would say is that the English people is more easily influenced towards changes in terms of music than the Americans. You know, the Americans tend to see what's happening. Let's see what's happening, you know. And let's see what we can achieve out of this. Let it break, and then we deal with it. You know, it's that type of mentality. My experience, really, you know. So that is the difference with England. You know, it's like the Beatles started in England. I think the reason why they reached across here is because of, you know, possibly tax invasion or something. You know, it's like,
the Rolling Stones.
yeah, well, it generally starts there. I think it has something to do with the social condition that people might really live in terms of, you know, my experience of touring Yorkshire and places like those. You know, it's like in Jamaica, where you have certain places where, you know, masses of people different from the opposite class, and the masses is more than the opposite, and the masses always create. You know, like we are the creator, the originator.
Probably could also be a result of the British people close association from colonial days.
That's also a possibility. Yeah. But they tend to graph at, you know, changes in music faster than the Americans.
Yeah, I would have to tend to agree with that. Where do you see reggae music really? What direction do you see it progressing to or evoluting to?
Well, I see the only way for it is up. It's going up, and it's you know, branching out in wider areas because the world is ready for something new now.
Right.
They want to hear a new music. The world want new leaders with new ideas, a new nation for this new
Problem
creation. You know, and reggae to those people is new, and it's the best you can get for something new right now.
Well, I don't know of another music that really can do what reggae music is really doing, or the message. It's a message music. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, it's a message. It's a music with a message.
Right. And you know, like it's a music that has like a certain amount of spiritual upliftment. And I think most people are seeking that at this time.
Yes, you see the state that the world is in today, everybody's really seeking spiritual upliftment. You know, it's like, it's just revelation in a way, you know. This is the beginning of the great Armageddon. You know, nation shall rise against nation, children against children, parents against children, and what have you. That is what's happening now, you know. Different nations creating, you know, situations to fulfill the Armageddon.
Right.
You know.
What's some of your favorite associate in the music? Like, what's some of the other reggae acts that you enjoy listening to?
Well, I don't know, man. I really haven't been penetrating too much. No, I'm more creating now other than really listening to be really influenced to a certain degree. But the little that I've heard so far, you know, I've heard groups like groups like Culture, you know, with a different sound. It's like the Spears, but a little different. You know, and you know, like Third World ain't too bad.
Right,
you know,
right.
You know, not the best, but not you know, too bad. You know.
Right. Okay, Max, we're going to continue this conversation right after these. We're going to continue this conversation right after these brief messages. Ladies and gentlemen, Rockers 80 present Reggae News, a news of the music of the Most High, Mr. David Silver.
Hello, hello. Nice to be with you. I want to talk in this segment about what's going down in reggae music. You know, some people have said that reggae music is out, or whatever words they use, but to my mind and a lot of other people, its influence is growing daily. And in this segment, we want to tell you a little bit about what's happening. Firstly, congratulate Peter Tosh on the second round of his Great American campaign, completing his tour, knocking him out everywhere with his great band of roots music and his evolved reggae music, supported, of course, by the Rolling Stones, with Mick Jagger doing a mix of Buckingham Palace, the single, which I'm sure everybody's heard by now. Also, Max Romeo and Jamala have been gigging very successfully around the city in the last few months, playing at Hurrahs, which is a new wave punk club with both white and blacks there, and everybody enjoying themselves together, which I think is a very, very important aspect of this music. So congratulations to Max and Jamala. Also, in England, there's been a big ska revival, with Blue Beat and Rude Boys coming back to London, plenty of ska being played, and a band called The Specials really causing a sensation in London in the last few months. I hear that Pablo Moses has a new album, and Hugh Mandel has also been recording. And very exciting, Winston Rodney, one of the great legends of reggae music, has signed a deal with EMI Records and under his own label name, Spear Records, and we expect to hear some great Spear music coming out and being distributed nationally and internationally as it always should have been. Very happy about that. Israel Vibrations are coming into town very soon, and you must be sure to catch them because we all know how very great they are. Exciting that Bob Marley has, as usual, been playing around and not only playing his own music, but playing with other great performers and doing great jams. He did something with Stevie Wonder again, this second or third time he's done this. Very exciting in Philadelphia recently at the BMA, which is the Black Music Association convention. Marley, we don't have to say much about Bob Marley, we all know about him, but the album Survival is just about out, and we're all very excited about that because every time Bob brings a new album out, we know something really great is going to happen. I saw a picture in one of the trades recently of great man Dick Gregory with Bob Marley. I think I caught Dick Gregory just very tastefully kissing Bob Marley's hand, showing great togetherness in a struggle as well as a triumph for both men as they continue to fight for what they believe to be true. That's it, just a couple of items to show you that reggae music is alive and well and doing its thing and penetrating the society, penetrating the music world, doing what it should be doing. And let's face it, this show is called Rockers 80. We suppose and we know that reggae music will reach its zenith, I think, and start to really make a showing all over the world in the 1980s. That's all from me, David Silver. See you next time. And now, we'll do a commercial, and then back to Earl Chin.
How's everyone feeling? It is my greatest desire at this particular dispensation that every man is feeling upful and bright. And my name is The Roots Man, and we are in the midst of a conversation with a very dear friend of mine, Max Romeu. Max Romeu. What has been happening recently?
Recently, I've been around, with this group, Jamala. As I told you before, we have it together and we've been doing a couple of gigs around New York City and a little out of town.
Praising Jah Rastafari at the same time.
Hopefully ever since, man.
Seeing. How long the man been a Rasta man? Or I shouldn't ask that question.
Well, I was born a Rasta man still. From creation.
From creation.
Yeah, man.
Seeing. So, is it necessary for a Rasta man to really come here in the style that you have yours?
A question like that from a Rasta man is really a hopeful answer. It's true. Yeah, it is customary. It shows a difference. It shows that it's different from the rest.
Right.
There's only one Rasta man.
Seeing.
And it's the dreadlocks, not the Congo.
Seeing.
It shows a difference.
Seeing.
You know what I mean? And it represents our roots of Africa.
True.
Naturality.
True. Orthodox way. Natural way.
Right.
Seeing. Why is it always that Rastaman consume a lot of herb or marijuana for people who is not accustomed to that terminology?
Well, I wouldn't really term it as consume.
Or utilize.
That effect is really more, that sound more unified, like utilize. Well,
right.
It is, what I would say herb to us is really precious. It's like incense to the Catholic. And I burn it, to achieve. What we achieve from it is, it transcends with thoughts into a more positive element. It keeps us cool. Regardless, the authorities may have them grouse about herb. Right. I can tell them that, all the leaders of the world, that if there was no herb, you would be one of the greatest revolt in the world, because only herb can keep I and I conscious that I and I don't revolt and go out there and create some dangerous obscenity on the side.
It soothes the soul.
It soothes the soul and satisfies the mind.
Same.
And that is what we need. Satisfaction and, being cool.
Have you been in Jamaica recently?
Yeah, it's about 3 months now. Really, I don't really go
See.
home. You know, I've been out here doing the works of the Father. You know, because the work is finished at home.
Right.
So I have to go abroad and really spread the news and to gain more soldiers for the army of Jah.
Recruiting soldiers.
Recruiting soldiers for Jah, you know what I mean?
Definitely, definitely. I also get to understand that you are doing something in the studio.
Yeah, I've been doing some demo. You see, I have a different concept towards recording now, in terms of what some people would call a finished product. In my estimation, is really demos. You know, it's things to sit down and listen, to get ideas, to finish. And 95% of Jamaican music end up being demos. They're not finished.
Right.
So when I'm in the studio doing an album, I do one album and then I listen it to get ideas to do the right album. That is what I really process I'm into now.
So do you always write under the influence of herb? Or not necessarily?
Not necessarily, but it's just one of my main influence in writing. If I don't really have it to really smoke and transcend my meditation, then you can't get nothing from it, because all around me is frustration.
Right.
The world become one frustrated focus bag.
You know, speaking about the philosophy of Rastafari, there's a song that you've written and done called One Step Forward, One Step Backward.
One step forward, 2 step backward. Well, that record, that song was really describing the situation in Jamaica in terms of a lot of people don't understand that it is, that is what it really represents. It is representing the situation that it was in Jamaica. I don't know if it is within 3 months, because Jamaica changed every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's like government was taking 1 step forward and 2 step backward. You know? So if it's going forward all the way now, more power.
Right. Progressive movements.
Right.
Supposed to be what's happening at all times. Yes, indeed. What I'd like to ask you about is, when can we expect an album from you?
Well, like I said, I'm in the process of getting one together now, but I believe in $1 worth of music for $1. And not 50 cents worth of music for $1, like
So
in the case of what is happening now.
You're taking time and getting it in the right
And getting it
perspective.
in the right perspective.
Very good. Sound logical to me. You know, like, what do you see happening in the 80s? You know, the way the situation is at this particular time with, you know, recession and inflation and gasoline crisis and things of that nature.
This word inflation come about in the 70s is a word I really never hear about. And I feel inflation, that word, is a mask that the rich man wear. Him hide behind the face of inflation and then him grab everything for himself. It's not inflation, it's just that things getting a little tight and the crumbs that used to fall from the rich man's table not falling anymore. You understand? So it's just a tighten up situation with him now. I don't call it inflation. I call it a withdrawal of investment.
In other words, the rich think they probably have gotten as rich as they possibly can.
Right, they can't get no more, so why worry anymore? Let's keep what we got and watch the world tilt.
Seeing. Yeah. And you were involved in a Broadway play. I don't know if there's anything happening at that you could tell us about.
Yeah, well, you know, after lingering over a period about 3 years, we're finally getting it together now. And it's like, it's gonna happen. You know, I think they might definitely open for the fall, for this fall.
Well, keep us informed about that.
Yeah,
and,
I will.
Once again, it was a great pleasure for you to come by and spend these few minutes with us. Needless to say how much I appreciate it.
Right.
Yeah, Rockers 80 is the name of the show, and my name is Earl Rootsman Chen, and I really enjoy sharing this pleasant moment with you. And we will be able to do it next week. We're going to be doing it every week. Rockers 80. It will be very progressive, so I want you to really take the time out and look forward to it. Next week we'll have another very interesting guest from the music of the Most High. Once again, my name is Earl Chen, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. And until we congregate once again, have a beautiful week, and let the powers of the Most High guide and protect you. One love.
This bit we can...
Stand by.
It's on, gentlemen. It's on.
Yeah, I like the way you said withdrawal. You said
So I'm answering. The maximum.
I had a two-shot together and then full. That's a song,
Naya story.
It's one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard in my life.
My virgin was a psychiatrist, and I opened up man's skull and set them brain differently.
Yeah, a friend of ours.
Just a song they love listening to.
Just plays that song all the time.
Whenever
I go to his house.
meet the man,
He's a
the
brain
man is
surgeon.
one of the avid fan of Rasta. I will let the man
plays a lot of max.
A young youth, you know, about 25 or so.
That's what he plays.
Who that?
Morning.
My friend,
No,
Come on.
open up man's skull and
I believe so.
yeah, sure.
brain surgery.
I said, get a musician into a magician.
You never hear that? Oh.
Maxine,
Yes. So, look up.
Man called meditation.
Yes.
that's it.
Yes.
You reggae music, some visualization.
How many minutes?
Yeah, man. We'll come back over. I will get the last some better song, you know. And then we know.
This is my opinion, so listen carefully now. This is my opinion, so listen carefully now. Marriage is like a trap that's set for a rat. Oh yes, marriage is like a trap a trap that's set for a run. It has blown some minds and destroyed some hearts and wrecked some and parked some, just like an old car. As the moon's on, easy come, easy go. That's the way I play the show. Easy come, easy go. That's the way I play the show. I'm telling you, marriage is like a trap that's set for a rot. Ooh yes, marriage is like a rat trap that's set for a rot. So young lovers and watch the running. Young lovers and watch before you run into him. Young lovers and watch before you make your vow. Young lovers and watch. I'm a telling you, marriage is like a rat trap that's set for a rot. Ooh yes, marriage. Even though you hurt me, wanna try a thing with you, girl. Senorita, senorita, oh, oh, I'm gonna love you now, yeah. Senorita, senorita, oh, oh, I'm gonna love you now, because you can do everything. So I'm gonna let you wear my diamond ring. I'm going to take you to my home, where we both can be all alone. Yeah, senorita, senorita, oh, 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 I'm gonna love you now. Come on and take my hand. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. If I make you my senorita, I want you. I wanna love you, senorita, and I just can't wait no longer. I'm gonna Those set of brutal warmongers, they even said that we all one brothers. But yet they are fighting against their culture. Oh, I feel like crying. See how my brothers are dying. Oh, I feel like crying. See how my sisters are dying. There's one thing I know. You love badness. Surely get sadness. You love badness. Bank out of creation. You love badness. Go down in silence, so stop it. Right now, stop it. Children, we all have to find a good solution. Got to find so that we can save this whole nation. Yeah, everyone have their own desire. But I know that good must prosper. Oh, I feel like crying. See how my brothers are dying. Oh, I feel like crying. See how my sisters are dying. Oh, keep the faith, brothers are saved. Keep the faith, let it take away. Oh, what an ugly situation. How they are crashing down creation. Yeah. Because of their belief in evil running. A lot of pride and vanity, yeah. Oh, I feel like crying. See how my brothers are dying. Oh, I feel like crying. See how my sisters are dying. One thing I know, you will surely get sadness.